Welcome back. Now, we've just finished porting over all of our work to Twin Blast. Now, in this video, I'm going to tweak Twin Blast just a bit because the mesh is slightly different, so we might need to make a couple of adjustments. Now, one thing I'm noticing is when I aim the SMG, the hand is a little too far to the left. I'm talking about the left hand here. So I'm going to go into the Shooter Anim BP for Twin Blast. And here in the animation blueprint, I don't see the anim graph, but we can go down here in my blueprint where it says anim graph, and we can double click that and we'll get our anim graph. So the first thing I'll look at here in Shooter Anim BP is the aiming pose. So I'm going to go all the way up to aiming upper body and aiming pose, and here we have some aiming poses. And for the submachine gun pose, we have aiming pose rotated. Let's go into that, and we'll see that the weapon is angled up and sort of rotated a bit. We can adjust this. Let's go to the Twin Blast skeleton, and let's take a look at the right-hand socket. Now I'm looking up at the right-hand socket, and I'm going to rotate it over just a bit and angle it down a little bit, and I'm going to go ahead and hit play and aim and see how this looks. Now it looks like I could rotate it just a little bit clockwise, or if looking into the barrel, it would be counterclockwise. So I'll rotate it a little counterclockwise and down. Now let's hit play. And that looks pretty good, but let's see the other weapons as well. So it might be angled a little too far down. So this will take a little bit of tweaking. I'm going to turn off snapping and angle it up just a bit and see how this looks with the AR. So grab the assault rifle, aim it, and it's still down a little too much. I'm going to aim it, angle it back up, and just iterate this again. So that looks almost okay. It looks good with the SMG. Let's angle it up just a little more. See how this looks. That looks pretty good. Let's look at the pistol. And I'm happy with how the pistol looks as well. Now, as far as the aiming pose for the AR, let's take a look at that animation. So I'm going to go into the Shooter Anim BP, and for the assault rifle, we have aiming pose AR. And here we have it. Now, it looks like it's aiming sort of upward a bit. So what I might want to do is stop the animation and go to the first frame, and let's get our right hand. So I'm going to scroll down, and here's our hand R. In fact, I might go up to lower arm R and just rotate this down a bit. Just so it's aiming forward. And I can get the lower arm L as well. Even though we're using hand IK to adjust it, it doesn't hurt to get the lower arm to sort of match. So let's angle this down as well, at least roughly. So I'll go ahead and get that hand on the weapon where it should be, and I'll add a key here. And if I scroll through the animation, well, it basically stays still. It doesn't really move. Let's go ahead and save this, and we'll now play test this and pick up an assault rifle. So here's the AR, and that looks a great deal better. So it all comes down to tweaking these things. When you retarget animations, sometimes the mesh is different, so you might have to make adjustments. Okay, so that looks good. We've successfully tweaked our character. Now, the Twin Blast Paragon asset package comes with a lot of really cool things, such as particle systems. Let's take a look at the Twin Blast folder. And in Twin Blast, let's go to FX, Particles, Abilities, Primary, and Effects. And we have some really cool things here like P Twin Blast Primary Muzzle Flash. If we open this, then we'll see that we have a muzzle flash for a gun blast, and this actually throws off a bullet shell as well. Now I'd like to take advantage of this by adding it to our weapon data table. Let's go back up to our data table folder and open weapon data, and let's take our pistol, select that, and go down to the muzzle flash, and let's select P underscore twin blast underscore primary and select primary muzzle flash. I'm going to save that, and now let's see what happens when we pick up a pistol and fire it. Now before we play test it, I'm going to take this weapon, which I know has a weapon type of pistol, and I'm going to move it just to update it so it gets all of its assets loaded from the data table. Now let's play test this. I'm going to open a second viewport, Alt-P to play, and I'll pick it up, swap to it, and now we got our red muzzle flash. Let's reload. So now we have some new exciting assets that we can use. We can have different types of weapons with different muzzle flashes and so on. And the beautiful thing about this is that the Epic Games Marketplace has a ton of other Paragon assets, each with their own animations and particle systems. And before we wrap up this video, I'm just going to show you one more interesting thing. If you didn't notice this already, not only does Twin Blast and Bellica and all the other Paragon characters have a beautiful skeletal mesh, there are different versions called skins in each package. For example, Twin Blast has several versions of this skeletal mesh that uses the same skeleton. Select the mesh, and here under mesh, for the skeletal mesh, click the drop down, and you'll see that there are different versions of Twin Blast. There are different versions of Bellica as well. Let's select one of these just to see how it looks. I'm going to take Twin Blast Shadow Ops. Now it's going to take a second to load, so give it a minute. Okay, so we finished loading this skin, and as you can see, it's quite different than the other Twin Blast skin. It almost looks like a villain or something. So we can go ahead and play test this. And now we've got this skin. And of course, this is a completely different skeletal mesh. So we'd have to go in and find the skeletal mesh called Shadow Ops and set those guns to the transparent material. But that's a minor detail. For now, let's keep play testing. Seems like it works pretty good. We can crouch, we can run, we can test the hip turning mechanics, which seem to be working well. So everything seems to work very good. All right, so before we end this video, I'm gonna find this skin called Twin Blast Shadow Ops, and I'm gonna browse to this asset. And if we're going to use this, we need to make the adjustments we made to Twin Blast. Namely, we need to set that element for the guns to transparent. So we'll find it here, and it looks like it's not element 2. Looks like it's element 6 here. So let's go ahead and set that to transparent. And something I haven't noticed yet is that Twin Blast has a grenade on this skin. So let's take element 8, which is the grenade, and set that to transparent as well. Okay, that looks good. Now we don't need to add the right-hand socket. So if we look for a right-hand socket, we'll see that it's already there. And that's because this skin, this skeletal mesh, shares the same skeleton with Twin Blast. So that prevents us from needing to add the right-hand socket again. That's why we can see the preview asset on this skin. Okay, excellent. Let's go ahead and hit Save All to save our work, and Save Selected. And we now have multiple versions of our shooter character. Now I'm going to give you a challenge. I want you to go to the Epic Games launcher, go to the marketplace and search for another Paragon character. Find one that you like, add it to this project, and retarget Bellica's animation blueprint over to it, and perform the steps that we did with Twin Blast so that you can use that character. I'll see you in the next video.